said something like, "I'm a Texan first," and you were furious with the Texas delegation.
Well, I am a Texan first, and I expect people to have courage and fortitude and be upfront and honest about what they're thinking when they take action, especially in the name of their constituents and the people that sent them to represent them, and to take the cowardly way out and stay present after a principled reflection, or you did not know the other folks in the running, or that could be running. What is it?
Somebody hasn't done their homework first and foremost.
That's right. So why are you there?
Right.
And this is your first vote. And Bob said something about the fear that has been struck in people. It truly is a fear with regard to if our Texas delegation does not stick together. And next week when our state reps are sworn into office, I mean, it's truly becoming even more important that our representatives here not only fight the federal government, but they stand for Texas values in every level of government.
Is it too much, y'all, for us to ask that our representatives show and demonstrate a little Texas grit?
Certainly not.
Is that too much to ask?
No, it's not at all. They campaign on it.
I know.
They all stand up there and quote the Alamo, and they quote Sam Houston, they quote Travis, and no, they absolutely should be Texans when they go to Washington D.C.
If they're not looking out for us, if they're not representing Texans in their only interest in their only motivation is self-interest, whether it's their political power, their political influence, their personal relationships with their internal club, then aren't they useless to us? I mean, if they're going to be more beholden and loyal to Boehner, what do we need them for?
Oh, absolutely. We need the representatives to listen to the people and to conduct our business in Washington, D.C., not what advances their political career, but what is the right thing for the country and the right thing for the people of Texas for us to get together and do.
Claver made a good point when he was talking with Lana earlier today. He said, this proves how imperative it is that we don't look to Washington for solutions, and that it makes it even much more incumbent upon the representatives that we send to Austin, because we need those representatives to protect us from the perfidy of Washington, D.C. And if we're not sending the right types to Austin, where's our bulwark against this federal overreach, this incessant bloat, this incessant encroachment upon our liberties? I feel like our Texas delegation is useless to us. I don't look to them for leadership, and I don't look to them for solutions.
As I've traveled around the state working for Breitbart, I've been talking to a lot of people about that particular issue, and one of the things that I've heard from people is they've given up on Washington. Texas legislature is where the battle is.
That's right.
We have to take it in there and build our control, build the safety and security to people that will protect us from this federal government, because the current occupant of the White House could care less about the Constitution. He could certainly care less about Texas. So that's where the battle is. That's where the focus of the grassroots is. The odds of replacing a state representative are much higher than the odds of replacing a congressman. So that's where you're more effective as a grassroots activist. That doesn't mean we ignore Congress. We certainly have to keep the pressure on them. But that local contact, the guy that you can get a hold of his tie and grab it and say, look, this is what we sent you to Austin, Texas for. That's where you've got the most impact as an activist.
Go ahead, Lana.
I was talking to a Tea Party patriot, and I'm interviewing folks for some articles that I'm writing today, and one of them said, I know who my enemy is, the Democrats, the liberals, the progressives, the socialists, but what we need to do is keep our eye on our Republicans and keep their feet to the fire and call them out. We're wasting our time using our energy, using our rhetoric, against the Democrats. And
Right.
talking about
That's
Obama.
low-hanging fruit. That's just too easy.
Low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's perfect. So he really had a great point, and that's what needs to be done.
You know, our name for our radio station, Raging Elephants Radio, some people have remarked, does it really need to be so angry sounding? I mean, really, Raging Elephants. I mean, why do you guys always criticize Republicans? We get that a lot, Claver, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Why are you guys hammering Republicans? Why are you so hard on them?
Because the Democrats aren't supposed to have any influence. That's why. I mean, Texas, in regards to government, Texas is a Republican state. It's not a conservative state. And when you have these super majorities, the Republican Party of Texas platform should be, the gavel comes down and you check it off. I mean, the Democrats aren't supposed to have any influence. The people of Texas have made it very, very clear. They don't want Democrats and leftist policies to have an impact on their lives in Texas society. The Republicans are in charge. The guys with R's behind their names are in charge. That's who we've given our vote to. And they consistently betray us. They seduce us in an election cycle, then they take the oath of office, and they slash us in the spine. So, yeah, as long as Bob and I were talking earlier. If they want us to leave us alone, do the right thing. Stop being rhinos and tinos.
Republicans in name only and Texans in name only. The reason that we are Raging Elephants is because it's up to us to hold them accountable, because they have their talking points. They have them down pat. A few years ago, back in 2007, even as recently as 2007, maybe 2009, you didn't hear Texans talking about the speaker's race in Austin. And you didn't really even hear Texans talking about their state senator or their state representative. They didn't even know their names. I think you're exactly right, Bob, and we've made that point here over and over and over again. In fact, some of our earliest commercials that we've run since we launched says, quit looking to Washington, D.C. Quit caring about what happens in Washington, D.C., because Washington, D.C. doesn't care about you. You're a Texan and a Texan first, And that's something that we try and put out there a lot, but that's going to require people to refocus. It's a paradigm shift, because the president and the congressmen and the senators get all the headlines. And people can shift and focus on Austin. Do you have any thoughts on the upcoming speaker showdown?
Well,
Am I putting you on the spot?
It's showdown is an interesting phrase on that.
Well, it is Texas.
There's a message here that the voters in the Republican Party want a more conservative speaker. That needs to happen, but I don't know how we get to that point. The system is so trapped to where an incumbent speaker has so much power and can hand out money. We've seen representatives who campaign to replace the speaker flip.
Yes.
Right in front of Tea Party groups.
Turncoat. That's called a turncoat.
They absolutely did. They turned
Yep.
that blue coat inside out and put on a red coat.
Yep.
And it just, it's shocking to see that, but that's the way the system works up there, unfortunately. Unless we can create enough heat, a representative that campaigned to oust the speaker and then changes to support the speaker needs to feel that primary heat again as the voters bring that issue back forward. It's unacceptable to me that a representative goes back on their attack like that.
Bob, when I'm taking an X-ray of the situation, to follow up on the point that you're just making here, when these guys, Jason Villalba or Ed Thompson or anybody else says there's no race here, it's over, game over here, nothing to see here, there's no competition, it's all locked up. I think what's happening is a lot of these state reps, they're rolling the dice. They're playing political Russian roulette. They're thinking that the Tea Party movement and those in the grassroots don't have the breadth of power, political power on the ground to get them all. Okay?
Well, there's a big difference between how the federal House Speaker's race works and how the state House Speaker's race works, and that is in the federal system. the Republicans put up a candidate and the Democrats put up a candidate, and then in this case we had some other candidates come in. But the Democrats aren't getting behind the speaker when the speaker's in the opposite party.
Yeah.
Here you have a situation where the Democrats don't put up a candidate for speaker. So all the Democrats are going to support the more moderate candidate for speaker, which is clearly in this case Joe Strauss. So with that number, we have to, the speaker only has to get the vote of a very small number of Republicans to win the race. And we all know that there's plenty of squishy people up there that will take that. And so the rest of them know, okay, they get in their mind, this is a battle we can't win. Whereas if they would all stand together, and the Democrats can't elect a speaker by themselves, so if they would stand together as a caucus